Hi everyone, and thanks so much for tuning in for today's video interview. Tony Restell here from Social Hire, and delighted to be joined today by Chris Peace. We're going to be talking about the coming year and what we can expect to see in terms of the hiring market and the challenges that that's going to pose for companies. Chris, thanks for joining us today. Would you like to start just by introducing yourself and your company?
Thanks for having me, Tony. Yeah, as you said, my name's Peace. I'm the Managing Director of Peace Recruitment up in Edinburgh. We're an independent, owner-managed business specialising in construction and property recruitment up here.
Fantastic. And so obviously been a huge year of change in the recruitment and the employment market. If you're looking forwards to companies wanting to retain their staff and prioritise who they're retaining over the coming year, what kind of recommendations would you have for companies right now?
Well, we've been taking stock over the last sort of 3 or 4 months as an organisation up here and speaking to candidates and clients and sort of trying to get a suss for the market, and sort of came up with a sort of spin on the fight, flight and freeze when everybody's been put into a state of sort of shock recently with COVID and job worries and financial worries and lots of change generally. And I think if I was to summarise it in one word, what people will expect coming forward, and it was only a 30-second video we're doing, I would just say lots of change in 2020. I think people are going to be thinking the grass is greener on the other side. And I think as well, people have seen backstage, or a lot of companies and owners and managers have shown maybe their true colours by furloughing everybody for a long time and not speaking to their staff. And the whole fight, flight and freeze, I've then summarised it in a corporate situation with helpers, hiders and hinderers. From looking at my own team and the changes that we've gone through, looking at myself as well and the different personalities and characteristics that I've shown over the last challenging sort of last 10 months, and speaking to lots of candidates, I think potentially what you've got is 30% of your workforce may be categorised as helpers. They'll be positive minded and sort of still achieving targets and going above and beyond. 60% may be grabbed into hiders, and these people are, for the candidates I'm speaking to, as well as potentially, friends and stuff, they're just riding out the storm in the backseat to pass, ready for a wee change maybe come Q2 next year. And then you've got your hinderers, who are people who are maybe actively disengaged and rolling their eyes in the Zoom meetings or the MS team meetings when you're trying to get your team motivated and things, and the different characteristics between those folks. So that's kind of what I found recently, and potentially a little bit harsh, but at the same time, this is what we're looking at in terms of different characteristics as people have been put under corporate stress.
No, I mean, it's definitely a time to evaluate that, isn't it? And people have reacted to this in all sorts of different ways. When you look forward, Chris, to the coming year, what are your expectations in terms of staff turnover and talent shortages as well, assuming we return to some kind of more normal trading conditions?
Yeah, it will be different for different companies, obviously, and I think a lot of people will show loyalty and will be supportive of companies, and because for every 10 negatives, there's maybe 2 or 3 real positives out of the situation, where people have had a chance to sort of reinvent themselves, or be vulnerable leaders, or maybe try and change the culture within the organisation, or make more money by streamlining processes and stuff. But I think there'll be lots of change. There'll be lots of movement. An industry average across all sectors in the UK is 15%. That's what it is. And recruitment, and I know that a lot of your audience will be recruiters or recruitment. You have a very disappointing 43% staff turnover. So I mean, even if you take a normal year, that's not good, and this hasn't been a normal year. So who knows what the numbers could be? It could be quite a lot, but I don't see a lot of growth. I just see a lot of change and a lot of churn, because those helpers will probably get headhunted and get moved on and be looked for bigger salaries, and they'll realise that they're well thought after, so they may be looking for their big move or to be well looked after. And your hiders, as I say, might just be looking to be re-inspired or have a different company who are going to give them a few grand pay rise. So they're going to be interested in dipping their toe in the water, and a lot of the candidates that I'm speaking to, that I'm recruiting, are saying exactly that. And then are probably going to jump before they get pushed because they might know they're on a sugary peg with their maybe poor attitude or their lack of engagement that they've shown over what's been a challenging time for everybody. So upwards of 50% potentially. And I'm going out and saying to my clients who are architects and engineers and main contractors and surveyors and things that they should prepare now for the same situation. So they should start their recruitment plans and think about what they're going to do to retain their key players, pull their hiders out from hiding, and then think what they're going to do with the other people that maybe they're not happy to lose, but they may well be expecting to be moving on at some point. So it'll depend how prepared you are for your planning. I've already put a plan in place to try and retain my staff and key players in place, and so I did that about 3 months ago, which was completely remove my commission threshold, but pay it as a loyalty bonus. So rather than get a threshold, they're getting 20% on everything, but they don't get it till the second half of next year. So if they stick by me through a difficult period, they'll get weighed in on a high percentage, no threshold on the back end of the year. So I was hoping that shows that we're in it together, and that's the sort of hopefully innovative thinking that maybe some of our clients and other recruiters, might be thinking about doing as well, because you do need to look after your team members emotionally and also financially,
Absolutely. So critical right now. Be interesting to see what others are doing. Maybe we'll get some comments on the video to that effect. Other insights, Chris, when you're talking to clients and other recruitment business owners and the like, what kind of other insights and expectations are you picking up on?
Technology is going to be absolutely massive, I think, as well. I think your CRM and your probably VoIP or voice over IP telephone calls is probably more more critical than ever. Regular communication, I think, is key as well, because I think there's a lot of mental health and you don't really know what's going on behind the scenes, and so while it feels a little bit harsh categorizing people into those 3 categories, somebody might be having a tough time about it at home that you're not aware of. And so I think it's maybe a change in the tide where I think maybe I know I need to make improvements in this area myself, but more time for an empathetic leader and an understanding organisation and more flexibility. And I think people that are going to go back to the old way of doing things might find themselves in a problem, because I think as well the blended working and working from home and life-work balance and that, I think a lot of people are looking for that. So companies that are going to be more open-minded with that thing, without it just being a sort of a badge, but actually something that they live by, I think that's going to happen as well. So I'm not exactly sure. I don't have a crystal ball at the moment. All I'm expecting a lot of change and a lot of innovation to come out of it from all sectors, and a real merry-go-round of candidates and clients and stuff. But from the top down and the bottom up, we're getting clients who are usually hiring through us saying, what about jobs for me? So everybody's looking at it, and people who are working in an industry here want to completely reinvent themselves to go and do something else. For example, I had a senior company who will need to remain nameless. The guy was all of a sudden want to become a ski instructor. He was like, would you become a ski instructor? And I was like, he's a design engineering company. And I was like, no, I'm sorry, I don't recruit for Courchevel or, Val d'Isère, I'm afraid. I can't do that. But this is just a real extreme idea where these individuals are thinking. So it just gives you a little bit of an insight into what might be happening next year. And that's mirrored with a lot of my friends and family and stuff who are just ready for maybe trying something different. COVID's helped put things in maybe a positive way for some people.
Definitely. Chris, really interesting talking to you today. If anyone would like to find out more about the company or get in touch, is there a website or anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, sure. I mean, anybody wants to connect with me on LinkedIn, clients or competitor or competing agencies, I'm happy to share. To be honest, I think more now than ever, we need to sort of stick together and share best practice and work as a team to try and raise industry standards and do our best. And I certainly, far from, don't have any of the right answers all of the time. So, you learn a lot of things at the bottom when you're struggling than what you do at the top. And so if anybody's got any insights and wants to share something with me or get more questions, that's absolutely fine. I'm not offering like a free pack to a lot of our clients, which I'm calling their survival pack, which is helping them survive and get through the next 6 months, but how they can do to actually thrive the following 6 months, which is looking at mapping their competitors to find out how we can move their key staff from less engaged employers into their organisation. And so I'm working with clients to look at their survival plan, which is including benchmarking for their current team members and stuff. So if any of your listeners or watchers want to know more about how I'm doing that, then I'll be more than happy to help. No problem. Just hook up with me on LinkedIn.